Hey, what's up, awesome folks in the world? Hey, so this is a part two on revision. I've been having people ask me, hey, can you do a deeper dive? And guys and gals and non binary friends, like, I just want to say that this is probably going to be like a part seven. Because revision itself is, I think, also misunderstood within the manifestation community. And there's going to be some things I'm going to repeat from the other video, but I hope the way in which I say them is going to be a little bit different and hopefully helpful to you. So let's talk about the mind and memories and feelings and what they all do together. Because for you to fully understand revision and what's happening and what's occurring, I think is very, very important to understand how memories play into this. Okay. So human identity is nothing more than repeated memories and behaviors and emotions. Are you hearing this? Those three things together make you who you are. Think about it. Just think about it. Sit down, write, and part of your identity, right? Like I'm confident, or I'm not confident, or I fear birds. It doesn't matter, right? Write something down. It could be a positive emotion, a negative emotion. I guarantee you, if you do the deep work, you'll be able to trace that back to an event, a moment, a memory, right? And so that is very, very key, okay? To recognize that what we're dealing with is that human identity is not something that's solid. So in the West, like America, Europe, right, Australia, all of these kind of typically Western countries, we kind of worship the idea of being an individual, and so we think it's very key. We think we're being individualistic. We think that to be an individual means to either share our thoughts or, to be vocal or to create things or whatever it is. We have like all these loaded ideas about what it means to be an individual. But the one thing that ensures we're not individuals is the very fact that every single human relies upon those three things: beliefs, emotions, and memories. And those create habits, and those create habit loops. And then the more you do them, you get dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin and norepinephrine. So what you do is you end up rehearsing your identity. That's what it is. Identity is rehearsal. That's what you're doing every day. Identity is a mask, right? And so you simply are repeating these things on loop. And so what that does is it creates what's called a closed feedback loop. Okay? So what does that mean? A closed feedback loop means, oh, so I believe the world is beautiful. Oh, so every time I go into the forest, I see beautiful things. Oh, people treat me amazing, right? So then people treat you amazing. But notice that all started with one belief. And so a closed feedback loop means you're only experiencing the beliefs that you accept, but you're also experiencing the the truth of what you accept. Okay, and so there are levels of truth, because if you're like, I kind of doubt that the world is a beautiful place, guess what? If it's a strong doubt, then that means you don't believe the world is a beautiful place, and you're going to experience that, right? And so ultimately, what you're doing is you're creating, every belief creates a closed feedback loop. Okay. So again, the world is good. The world's full of justice, right? The world is bad. There's so much injustice. Capitalism is bad. Communism is better. Socialism is much better because it's in the middle. Now, I'm using all of these as examples. I'm not sharing views. I'm showing you examples of how you can see this, not just from your own personal perspective and what your individual beliefs are, but how you can see that play out in the world and other people's beliefs that you may not even know by just watching television or people watching in public or whatever it is that you do. You can begin analyzing and seeing, and Neville would do this, right? He even talked about people watching. And he would even sit there and say, I wonder what this person's thinking, right? Because you can actually begin to then fully understand and grasp what's happening. People aren't living out identities, they're living out repetitive behaviors. They're living out repeated beliefs, emotions, and memories. So If you followed me on any other videos, then you'll know what I'm about to go into, and this might be hopefully a good refresher for you. But I want to make sense of what I'm saying. So if you have a belief, that belief did not come from anywhere. It didn't just come out of the sky. Zeus didn't give it to you. It's somewhere in the storehouse of your memories, right? And so that belief is reinforced, right? Now, what keeps it going, what the fuel is behind it, is the emotion or the feeling, okay? And so somewhere along the lines, before you created that memory, before you even had that belief, you had an experience. And the experience itself created a neurochemical release, which means you reacted to it. Okay? That created a memory. Okay? Because it was impacted. Sorry, it impacted you. I need coffee. So it impacted you. All right? And so when it impacted you, that made a memory. That made a subconscious impression. That's part of your record house, right? Of things that happened to you. So then the more that you rehearse it, whether it's, and by the way, you don't have to rehearse the memory, because now there's an emotion attached to the memory. So even if you go into a similar environment where you had the initial bad experience, let's say it's a bad one, but this can work for good as well, you're going to feel the same emotions because we're environmental beings, right? Yes, we are all imagination, but we are also part of this, right? And so what that means is this, the human body, the biology, right, is what we get to experience. And I do say get to experience because it is an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to realize that you can control it, right? And so when we're talking about revision, you need to fully be aware of what it's impacting. That's why I'm going so deep into this, okay? Because I want you to realize what is being changed, okay, and how it's being changed. So when you're revising, which again, quick primer, it's changing the moment, but the moment isn't being changed without you, which means you're being changed. So revision changes you 100% all the time. That's who you want to change, right? It isn't the person that rejected you. It isn't the person who walked away from you. It isn't the bill you couldn't pay. It isn't the car that broke down. It isn't, no, it's you. So, for example, if a car broke down and you're trying to revise it because you're doing it in the moment or whatever, then you feel relaxed and you feel relief, and then you look at it in your imagination of like you are the car owner who has an amazing car. Do you hear what's going on? Because otherwise, your identity is I am the person who has a car that just broke down. Okay? But everything's from the I am, which means everything's from being. This is why it's all about becoming. It's not about getting. You don't get a fixed car. You're the owner with a working car. Did you hear the difference? Okay? So that is the major key. All right? So it's not that you are somebody who is lonely getting to be with somebody. It's you are the person who's been married already, right? So there's a very and hear how stark and how different those two mentalities are, because this is what you're revising. You're revising the beliefs, right? And so again, you're revising the state. And what is the state? It's a body of beliefs that if you keep rehearsing, that not only gives you a value system, but a way to see the world, your perceptive lens. Okay. So you're changing that, you're modifying that. Okay. And so revision, you go in and you change a past event, a traumatic moment in your childhood, an abusive moment, whatever it is, right? You use revision to alter the you that experienced that. And so then what you're revising is you who is no longer experiencing that. Okay. Now, for people who might have a hard time, let's say that you just got out of an abusive relationship, a marriage, or you have had abusive parents. Okay. I get it. That's going to be hard. And there isn't anything to say that you shouldn't take the time to heal from that. But that revision is a form of forgiveness. Because if you're changing like an event, like a car situation, right, that we just talked about, the forgiveness is that you had a limiting belief about cars. Okay. But then also, if you're revising your childhood, then you're revising the experience that you had with your parents. Okay. So maybe they were abusive in that moment, but now you're revising it to the point to where in your mind, they're not allowed to be that abusive parent anymore. Right. And so now that's what forgiveness is. You are full. And in fact, the Hebrew word for forgiveness is standing up. And what is that a metaphor for? Well, in the esoteric language, that's standing up, as in you are going to the next level of consciousness. You're no longer sitting down, because a lack of forgiveness does the opposite. It immobilizes you. You're sitting there, you're not moving, you're not growing, you're not progressing. Hence why it's a metaphor, right? It's you're moving from sitting to standing. You're rising up in consciousness. You're going to the next level of forgiveness, right? And so the next level of forgiveness is that you're revising the people, but you're revising yourself, because you're no longer the person who experienced that, right? And so, yes, if you need to go to therapy, go to therapy. If you need to go talk to a friend to work it out for a few months, go do that. But revision is meant to be powerful, okay? This is no joke. All right. So, yes, revise bad things, but also revise good things to make anything that was mediocre 100 times better, to make anything that was 100 times better 1,000 times better. Like, you want to amplify this. So, revision isn't meant to just be triage, right? It isn't meant to just get you through bad times. That's what it's usually used for. But keep in mind that you can revise good to great, right? And you want to be doing that. So, there's more to this, and there's more I can go into this. And if you're looking for coaching on this, please get in touch. I'm good at what I do, and I have a lovely community of people that you can also find support in the Discord community. So definitely get in touch, and hopefully this was helpful to you. Let me know what insights you might have gained from this video. So subscribe and hit the notification button, and I'll speak to you soon. Much love, everybody. Bye.